Hello, America. So, I don't have much to say this week. My idea was that I was going to go back and get the mandalay out and try spiraling into signal sources with it. I have done that a little bit, and it is a little bit faster because it can turn faster in Super Cruise than the Corsair can. So it's a little bit faster, so that's interesting. But I didn't get to do a whole lot of that because I generally go to systems that directed by leadership, and I've generally been going to reinforcement systems or undermining systems, depending on whatever they feel like the priority is. Right now they're sending us to there's a couple of systems, and I've been going to the reinforcement system, and these systems, when you go to them, they might all be reinforcement systems, they might all be underwriting, but you get differences. Like I get to this system, and I was assuming there'd be like power wreckage signals and power convoy signals, things like that. There wasn't any of those. Instead, there was some kind of a war going on, and there were combat zones spawning, and these combat zones were between our faction and other power factions, and the idea was you just go in there and just kill the enemy ships, and those are all enemies, so you get merits for all of them, and this is how you rack up merits. I haven't seen that before, but there's a lot of variation from one system. I was not expecting that at all, so I had gone there. It was a long way to get there too. It was like 200 or 300 light years, and I took the Mandalay. And I had set up the Mandalay to basically pick up salvage. So I had a 64-ton cargo hold on it that was half full of limpets, and I put a smaller shield on it, and I had switched from a bi-weave shield to a standard shield, so I could have roughly the same shield strength with the smaller shield. But of course, that's not a bi-weave shield, and I had dropped a couple of the shield reinforcements that I normally use, and I put a bigger collector limpet controller on it. I was gonna salvage some stuff, and there's no signal sources out here to salvage anything with. But there are these combat zones, so it was a long way to go back, so I landed at a station and had them ship my extra components back over here, which that was going to take a while. I had them ship the extra reinforcements and the bi-weave shield, the 6C bi-weave shield that I had before. And in the meantime, I went off to the combat zones with this Mandalay in this alternate state, and that's what I'm flying here in these clips. And it worked out better than I thought it would. I mean, it's all burst lasers with short range blaster and inertial impact. They're not incredibly overpowered or anything, but you get up close to a ship and you blast it enough times, you can kill them. It only gets to be a little bit problematic if you're not in these combat zones. It works better, actually, ironically, although these have better armor than the cargo ships I'd normally prefer to go after. But in the combat zones, they're not going to run away from, well, not as often. They do sometimes run away and wake out, so that so you're robbed of all the time you spent shooting them down because they just leave on you. Does happen, but not as much as with the cargo ships. The cargo ships will nearly always try to wake out. So that's kind of a problem with this ship, because these burst lasers, they can kill ships, but they're not super fast about it. And if you got a ship that's just going to try to wake out the minute you start shooting at it, you're going to have to kill them pretty quick, and it's kind of a problem with these burst lasers, because if it weren't for the heat situation, it would probably be easier. But I can only shoot these 6 or 7 times before they start overheating. And then I got to pause a little bit. I spent some time trying to figure out a way to lower the heat profile on this thing. The only thing I could figure out that would have any effect at all really would be to switch the engineering on the power plant, which is normally it overcharged and stripped down, overcharged so I can power all these lasers and stuff, and stripped down to cut down on the weight a little bit so that I can maintain my speed and maneuverability and jump range. Well, switching from stripped down to what they call thermal spread would cut down the heat profile a little bit and wouldn't have a huge effect on maneuverability. This ship here, I know with the Corsair I can just pile all kinds of stuff on it. It doesn't really affect its top speed or its maneuverability or anything really very much at all. Ship is just massively powerful with the thrusters, I guess. But the Mandalay here, you know, it's very sensitive. You cannot load it down with a lot of stuff, or you will start losing speed and maneuverability and everything. So it's kind of a balance. It's well, I don't know. It's probably not the way to go. You know, you get stuck in these balancing acts where you want to have everything, but you can't really. You know, you can't have a strong hull and all these hull reinforcements and a strong shield and all that, and then be fast and maneuverable at the same time. You can't do it. You know, you kind of gotta pick something, really. You know? But I try to have at least enough shield so that, I skimp on the hull. A lot of people most people would advise going the other way. You know, build up the hull, screw the shield. But I probably ought to do that. But I'd just rather have the shield. I don't know. Long as I don't lose my shield, I'm okay. Yeah, fine. So after I did these combat zones for a day or two, about a day or so, and then come back the next day and they're all gone. So I wasn't really paying attention. I assumed there was some kind of system war between the power factions there that was spawning all this. But whatever that was, it was over with. So those are gone. So now I'm still looking at a system that they want to reinforce, but there's no signal sources for salvaging at all. There's no signal sources for convoys. So it's pretty much down to, well, I don't know, doing missions or something, which I'm really not going to do. Or the only other thing I could find to do there is to, just drop out a super cruise in various places, and sometimes that spawns up enemy cargo ships, and you can go shoot them. Okay, well, you can do that in open space. If you get in close towards the star, you might have better luck doing that, or around if there's asteroids belts, you can do that. Or in this case, there is one planet with a ring system, and I have pretty good luck dropping into those ring systems and just jumping out and back into it. I get a pretty good frequency of enemy ships doing it that way. Again, the only problem with that being is that these are cargo ships, and even though they have weaker armor and weaker weapons and everything else, they're generally going to try to run away and wake out the minute you start shooting at them. Their little escorts won't. The little escorts will fight you. So it's generally best to go after the escorts first and kill them, and then go after the main ship. But the main ship, as soon as you open fire on it, he's going to try to wake out. So it becomes a matter of trying to kill them quick. Well, that was really kind of a problem with the ship set up the way it was, you know, with the standard class 5 shield, and that's kind of a problem, because the burst lasers by themselves can't really kill these ships fast enough. They're gonna wake out on it, and So yeah, by that time my other components had arrived, so I went back to the station and switched those out and switched back to the Class 6 bi-wheel shield. Bi-weave shield, overcharged, what is it? The bi-weave shield with thermal resistant fast charge, and the extra shield reinforcements. And my resistances are semi-balanced out, and yeah, this allows me to basically ram these ships. So the burst lasers by themselves may not be quite fast enough to kill them, but they are fast enough for the smaller freight ships. They're more than fast enough. But you get the bigger ships, the Anacondas and the big freighters and stuff. You kind of have, yeah. It's a good idea. It's good to be able to ram them. One thing, as long as you don't actually open fire, you can ram them repeatedly, and they won't run away. They'll just kind of ignore you. Actually, that's a bug in the system. But you know, what do you want? It's AI. You can, yeah, you bump. So basically, if it's a really big ship, I just won't take any chances. I'll just bump into them repeatedly until their shield dies. And that way I'm not alerting them, and that way I'm not alerting them all the while I'm just trying to bring their shields down before I can do any actual damage. Their shield is already down. And then I'll be right behind them, and I'll target their drive, and I'll try to take their drive out with the burst lasers. And yeah, that works about half the time. But if I'm having trouble hitting their drives and it looks like they might get away, then I can always ram them again and try to finish them off that way. And this brings the success rate up pretty well. I can usually count on some of them still get away, but I can usually count on killing them like that. The only other advantage I'm getting out of this situation is that with these burst lasers, there's no ammo. So I can hang around, I can loiter around in these ring systems basically all day long until I run out of fuel. I don't have to go back and reload. That's a nice thing about it. So I was able to rack up some merits doing that. I thought about going back and getting the Corsair out, but that would be kind of a pain because this system is kind of spread out. There is a base with a shipyard in it, I think, but it's kind of distant from where I want to be at, so I didn't really feel like making that round trip, and it would be expensive to cart the Corsair out all this way, because it's hundreds of light years. Yeah, I was thinking about switching the power plant on the Mandalay to thermal spread also, but unfortunately, yeah, the nearest engineer that'll do that for me is like 400. God, damn near 500 light years from this system. I don't know why we're fighting out in these backwater little systems like this, but you know, leadership figures that stuff out. I don't understand that. Yeah, so that's about it. I didn't do much of any spiraling into signal sources at all. I did see some. There were some other human players out here. There's a couple human players in these clips. They're helping me out in these combat zones, which helps out a lot because you know these burst lasers do take a while to kill anything. You get like this guy in his Corvette with all the multi-cannons and stuff. They will definitely finish stuff off quick. That's awfully nice of them. No, that's about it, though. There might have been some enemy ships. I'm sure there are some enemy ships around here because they've been making some definite headway undermining the system on us. I ain't gonna worry about that. I'll throw in my bit, and I got other things I gotta do. All right, that's all I got to say. Have a good evening.